Hi, good afternoon. This is Homebody coming live from the house. So I wanted to come on here and say hello. I don't think I've been here. I don't think I recorded a video for like the past, I want to say 2 weeks or so. I've been trying to heal from pain. I don't really even know. So the last time I had this pain, about 4 years ago, I had x-rays done. I had an MRI. I went to occupational therapy, occupational medicine, of course the ER. I went to my primary doctor as well. And from what I understand, it was basically a herniated disc. Oh, I went to rheumatology too, which I had already had a rheumatologist before the incident. And it really wasn't an incident where people were like, yeah, you got injured in an accident. It was a situation where I was learning how to do the backstroke, and something happened with my neck becoming herniated, and the pain radiates down my arm. So anyway, the treatments are basically like you let it heal, and they kind of watch and see you do you do your occupational therapy or physical therapy and stuff like that. So I don't know. So my rheumatologist, he had a different opinion. He think it's just he thought it was just kind of a flare up. And he was like, why didn't you come to me? You should have just came straight here. And I didn't connect those two things together. I didn't think that I needed to see the rheumatologist for the issue. So at this point, now that the pain has come back and I haven't really done anything besides, what is that? Okay, I need to vacuum in here. So anyway, so what happened, how I got hurt this time is that I kind of just went to sleep and I woke up in pain, right? So the only thing I could think of is that I laid on my side wrong, and maybe I aggravated my herniated disc, but also it was really, really cold. Actually, what the funny part is this, I slept on the floor. I find it a little bit comfortable to sleep on the floor, but it was really, really cold that day. And I was just thinking, like, it's really cold, but I still stayed on the floor. And then I woke up, I was in excruciating pain. So I do think that my fibromyalgia is aggravated by cold. So I don't know what's going on, but I feel a lot better. I saw a virtual provider who prescribed steroids. I still have pain, but it's mostly when I move, right? And I like to move. Like, I'm the kind of person, I like to take walks and stuff like that. And I notice that after I take a walk, I feel so much pain. So I've been resting for the last couple of days, and pain is such a distraction because I don't really feel like doing anything, and you really try to conserve, preserve as much as energy as you can. But I did want to come on here. I want to say cheers, you guys. Okay, I have some cheap pink Moscato in here. But cheers. My tenant is in the house. She's in the house. I hope everything works out for her. She just got in there. She just got the keys yesterday, and so she should be moving her stuff in, throughout this weekend. So I'm super excited for her. She does have children, so I'm hoping that they like it, and it's a good move for them. So let's get into the movie review. So I wanted to do a review on Terminator Dark Fate. It came out in 2019. This movie came out right after Terminator Genesis, which came out in 2015, and I did a review on Terminator Genesis 2015, and I kind of did a review also on the original Terminator and Terminator 2. I didn't really see enough of the other Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines 2003. I didn't see that one. If I did see it, I didn't see enough to review it. I've seen like bits and pieces of a few movies in between those two Terminators and Terminator Genesis. And so 2019 Terminator Fate was a really, really good movie. I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to tell you guys about what was in the movie. Okay, so I like this movie in particular because Arnold Schwarzenegger, he came back as a T1, wait, because the Terminators are robots, right? So robots, they are given like not serial numbers but model numbers, right? So Arnold Schwarzenegger's model is a T800. Okay, so he is when he came out and when he was developed, his capabilities are different than the newer models and the new Terminators, okay? So that's important because I'll tell you why. I think it's important, okay, to know that. Also, I like the fact that Linda Hamilton, who was the person that Arnold Schwarzenegger's T-800 was after initially. In the first Terminator, he was after her. And he was after Sarah Connor because she gave birth to John Connor, which is her son, which is the savior of humanity, okay, in the previous Terminators. So, I like that they brought her back because I think that she was spicy. She was really, really spicy. I like that. Remember how she was in the first Terminator? She was like, why are they after me? What did I do? What's going on? I don't understand. And in the second Terminator, she was like, all right, I got to prepare John for the future because he is the future. But she stays her spicy self, just an older version of herself, which I really, really like. So the movie is about, basically what happens in the movie is that John Connor is killed, okay? He is killed as a teenager or preteen. It looks like in the movie, it doesn't really say the exact age he was killed, but what happens is that Sarah and John, in their younger years, they have relocated to a different country. And while they're out at the beach, they're at a beach like a cabana style, you know, like where they're at like an outside eatery. And T-800, Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is the enemy in the first Terminator, he actually kills John. And John looks like he's about between maybe 11, 12, like no older than 14. So he dies in his basically childhood, right? And Sarah's screaming and, you know, there's nothing she can do. T-800 just walks up, shoots him, and leaves, okay? So flash forward, we are in present time. We are in Mexico. We meet Danny, and we meet Danny's brother, and we meet Danny's father. Danny and her brother work at the local factory. While they're at the local factory, we have a new Terminator. It's called a Rev 9, REV 9, okay? So you got the T-800, which is the older model. We have the Rev 9. We know that as the models get more advanced, they can do more things, okay? And so that's super important. So what happens is that Danny, which is Daniela, I believe. Danny sounds, you know, initially like it's probably a male, but she's a female. And she goes to work at the local factory. Her dad stays at the house. The Rev 9 goes to her house looking for her. And we know that once a Rev 9 makes a contact, well, once one of the Terminators makes contact with a human, they basically kill that human and it can look like that person, right? So Danny goes to work with her brother. Of course, Rev 9 finds her at work. And it's in disguise as her dad. And her dad is looking for her. But we know it's not her dad. So, as the Rev 9 is there, who shows up? But Grace, okay? Grace is sent to protect Danny, okay? Grace is, she has basically superhuman capabilities. She, you know, helps Danny escape with her brother. They lead. I like shoot chase scenes. There's something about it that's like, woo, wow, yeah, get it, run, you know. So they leave the factory. They run. Of course, Danny is like, that's my dad, and Grace is like, that is not your pops. Your pop is probably dead, okay. And so they get into the car. They're on the highway. Rev 9 is chasing them down. So Grace is trying to explain as much as she can while they're driving. Grace, you know, shoots at Rev 9. Danny's brother, what's her brother's name? Give me one moment. I can't remember names. Diego. Okay, so Diego's brother drives while Grace is shooting back at the Rev 9. At some point, the Rev 9 causes them to get into an accident on the highway, and Diego dies, okay? And so they're kind of like running, you know, trying to get away from the Rev 9, but they're in a bad position, right? And so as they're in this position where they're like, we don't know what's going to happen, guess who saves them? Sarah, oh, got it, okay. She is strapped, okay. She got like all kinds of weaponry and stuff. So while she told them, she said, I'll be back. So she goes, takes care of Rev 9. They go take Grace's car and run off, okay. But Grace is injured, okay. So Grace, come to find out, she is a human, but she is a human that has some technology installed into her, okay. So they do a little bit of flashbacks. And so Grace is a young girl. She's in a future world where the robots have taken over the earth, and she's surrounded. I guess they're trying to get her food. You know, they at this point where humans have to survive. They are in survival mode, so they have to kind of still get food. Supplies unlimited. And so as she's surrounded, she gets saved, okay, by someone, okay. And it's not really clear what saves her. As she gets older, she does become a soldier, and they're in battle with the robots. And so she gets saved, but she's in critical condition. And she basically says, you know, I'll do it, send me in. I guess they install whatever technology into her that will allow her to survive, and they sent her back to the past, okay, to help save Danny, okay. So that's what's happening. So that's what Grace is. Grace is a regular human in the future. She gets sent back. She does have some technology, but she's not a Rev 9, so she's limited, okay. So Danny gets her to like a pharmacist. Grace is badly injured, but she knows what she needs. She needs like a combination of some medication. I think one is like an anti-seizure medication and some other stuff. She needs certain medication that can kind of heal her, to kind of bring her back. So they go into the pharmacy. They kind of hold up the pharmacy. The pharmacist is like, what you need, what, you know, like how they was acting was like they wasn't trying to just give her the medication. So she pulls her gun out and was like, let me just go get it. And so she goes to the back. She's like sorting through the medication. And as they're leaving, Sarah pulls up again and takes them to a hotel. And, you know, as Grace, you know, is asleep trying to, you know, heal herself, Danny and Sarah have a whole conversation, and they're trying basically sorting things out. Like, you know, Grace wakes up and they're all talking, and they're like, how did you know where to find us? You know, like, how did you know that the Rev 9 Terminator would be there in that location? Sarah doesn't trust Grace. You know, she's like, why are you trying to protect Danny? You know, Danny is still trying to figure out what's going on, but she's putting things together, you know. And so they're at the hotel, and what they decide to do is that Sarah, what happens is Terminators get sent back, and for some reason, when they come back, Sarah gets a message. Someone sends her a message stating for John, and they give her GPS location of where the Terminator is going. And so Danny, with her technology that's installed in her body, she's able to track where the messages are coming from. And so they drive to figure out who's sending Sarah these messages, because they need to know like what's going on and how this person can help. And they go and they find T-800, the T-800 that killed John in 1998. He is now Carl. He has a wife and son. Okay, he did not create, you know, this son. You know, biologically this child is not his, but he basically has a wife and son because he's raised this son. And what happens is that back in 1998, once he killed John, he says basically he did not have a purpose. So he was, you know, he didn't have anything else to do. So what he decided to do was he adapted. He adapted to his environment, and he learned to have some. He's a robot, so of course robots don't think and feel like humans do, but he's able to have some sort of empathy and attachment to humans. And so he was able to build his family. So they find him. Sarah is like, after this is all said and done, I'm going to kill you. Okay, so but he does agree to go with them and help them fight Rev 9. Okay, there's a lot of things that happen in between. There is a lot of chase scenes. There is a scene in the movie where they're at a what do you call it, border patrol camp, like people that are trying to get into the United States from Mexico. Like there is a whole prison situation where the Rev 9 chases them, you know, Sarah, Danny, and Grace. There's a lot of scenes like this, a lot of chase scenes. It is awesome. I love it. So anyway, they decide to go to this factory. Come to find out, so now in the previous movie, Skynet is the company that makes Terminators, right? They make the technology that ends up being the Terminators that destroys humanity, or tries to destroy humanity. And then it was Cyberdyne, right? Cyberdyne. In the future, though, those companies don't exist. The company that exists in the future in this movie is called Legion. Okay? So, you know, like these movies, things that happen in the future change. Things that happen in the present change the future. These little changes kind of change the whole situation. So, they decide to go ahead and try to fight. And it's important. It has to be 4 against 1, because Rev 9 is advanced. He just advanced. He can do a whole lot of stuff. T-800 doesn't match him. Grace, she has limited capabilities, even though she is not fully human. Sarah, she has a lot of weaponry, but she's a human. And then we have Danny, who's, you know, she's even lower level because she doesn't have a lot of training. She's just finding out what's going on. And she's also trying to figure out, like, why they're after me. And the consensus is that she's going to be a new Sarah. So they're like, okay, you must be the carrier of the Savior, right? So they go ahead. They got the Rev 9. They go on. You know, oh, there's also a plane scene. That was awesome. Okay, there's a plane scene. Okay, so but anyway, they all basically have to pile up on this Rev 9. Okay, he is like beating them up. Okay, so at the very end, of course, Danny lives. Okay, our T-800 doesn't survive. Okay, he does help save the group. Grace does not survive her injuries as well, but it does all ends well in the movie. Okay, but come to find out that Grace, when she was a child, she was not saved by Danny's son. She is actually saved by Danny. So Danny is the future. It is a Latino woman, okay, that becomes the savior of humanity in the new Terminator movie. Isn't that awesome? I was like, yeah, she's going to be a new Sarah. She's going to find somebody, get pregnant. You know, they're going to have a baby. He's going to be the one. No, she the one in this movie. So it was pretty good. It was pretty good. And so at the very end of the movie, Danny and Sarah, they go and they see Grace as a child. Now, I was confused by that. And the reason why is because Grace is a child in the future. She's a little bit older than she is now. So I don't know how she could be present day Grace unless the future is like 2-3 years away. I don't understand how they was able to go and see Grace with her parents even when she was a child in the beginning of the movie in the future. I don't know how that happened, but they was able to go visit Grace. Of course, they didn't visit her and talk to her. They just kind of saw her driving by. And Danny made a promise, like, I'm not going to let, you know, Grace's death be for nothing. I'm going to definitely, you know, make sure that I make it count. So that's the end of the movie. It was really, really good. It was unexpected surprise. I was so happy to see Sarah Connor back in the Terminator movies. I'm sad, though, that John died, but this is the future. Like, the future does change, and every little present situation changes, you know. So I'm guessing that this movie has to change with the changes that are happening in real life, too. So it was a good movie, so I'm going to leave it at that. So I went to the dollar store today. My attention span is horrible. So I was supposed to finish up reading Innocent Man by John Grisham. My attention span is not the greatest. I'm going to try and finish that. But I went to the dollar store. The dollar store is not a bad place to buy books. The last couple books I bought from the dollar store are pretty good. And I found 2 more today. So I found this one called The Spanish Daughter. It sounds super good just from the flap on the back. It says, as a child in Spain, Puri always knew her passion for chocolate was inherited from her father, but it's not until his death that she learns of something else she inherited, a cocoa plantation in Venice, Ecuador, a town nicknamed Paris Chiquito. Eager to claim her birthright and filled with hope for a new life after the devastation of World War I, she and her husband, Cristobal, and I may not be pronouncing that right, she and her husband set out across the Atlantic Ocean, but it soon becomes clear someone is angered by Puri's claim to the plantation. When a mercenary sent to murder her aboard the ship accidentally kills Cristobal instead, Puri dons her husband's clothes and assumes his identity, hoping to stay safe while she searches for the truth of her father's legacy in Ecuador. Though freed from the rules that women are expected to follow, Puri confronts other challenges at the plantation: newfound siblings, hidden affairs, and her father's dark secrets. Then there are the dangers awakened by her attraction to an enigmatic man as she tries to learn the identity of an enemy who is still at large. Threatening the future she is determined to claim. That sounds so good. So someone's after her because she tried to claim some land her father left her. That sounds good. Then I picked this one up first. This one sounds good. Cover Your Eyes by Mary Burton. So it says, don't look. At first, they struggle to escape. Then a torrent of blows rains down upon their bodies until their eyes cloud over in final agony. The killer shows no remorse, just a twisted need to witness each victim's last terrified moments. Don't Speak. Public defender Rachel Wainwright is struggling to reopen a decades-old case, convinced that the wrong man is in prison. Homicide detective Deke Morgan doesn't want to agree, but if Rachel's hunch is correct, whoever fatally bludgeoned young, beautiful Annie Dawson 30 years ago could be the source of a new string of brutal slayings. Just prepare to die. Rachel's investigation is about to reveal answers, but at a price she never thought to pay. Now she's become the target of a rage honed by years of jealousy and madness, and a murderer is ready to show her just how vicious the truth can be. That sounds super good. So I'm going to try my best to get my mind right, okay? So I have a part-time job coming down the pike. I told you guys about a part-time job I was going to start, and I declined it, okay? I just felt like altogether. So I did the interview. The lady had mentioned something about like, how are you working in teams? I don't want to work. I don't want a job to feel like work. I'm past that. I'm not saying, of course, work is work, right? But it just sounds too much like my full-time job. It just sounds like too much. And then I talked to my one of my coworkers at my other part-time job, and she was saying how it became too much for her. But she said she thought I would like it, but I just, based on everything, I was like, no, I'm good. So I turned it down. So I have something else coming down in a couple weeks. So I'm hoping try to focus on finishing at least one book. So I'm not sure if I'm going to finish this one, if that's going to grab my attention again, or if I should move on to something else. But I'm going to try between now and when I start this other position. Hopefully it works out, because I don't know, this other position that I applied for is going to be starting in a couple weeks. I don't know, and I'm trying. I'm going to give it a chance only because I'm not sure if it's me, right? Because I'm like, at this point, I just feel like I can, look, if it's giving me one little wrong little thing, I'm just like, no, I want to do it, right? So I'm going to give it a chance because I don't want it to be me, but I don't know if it's that position, if it's going to be a right fit for me, because of things that, through the interview process, I didn't really like how it went, because it didn't seem like they were organized. Okay, so I'm gonna put it like that. So, but things happen, right? So I'm gonna try and give it a chance. But if it doesn't work out, I wouldn't have a problem walking away. Okay, but I'm gonna try and focus on reading something, and I have a couple weeks to do that. So we'll see how I make out. I will let you know. Of course, if it doesn't work out, I'll be doing another movie review. Okay. But I will be back soon. Have a good rest of your day. Take care, and I will see you.